The Kansas City Chiefs may be on the verge of making one of the most intriguing and emotional moves of the entire offseason, as reports indicate that the organization is exploring the possibility of bringing back a familiar face who played a major role during some of the most successful years of the franchise's recent dynasty. According to ESPN insider Adam Schefter, the Chiefs hosted former standout cornerback L'Jarius Sneed for a free agent visit, a development that immediately sparked excitement throughout the fan base and generated speculation about what a reunion could mean for Kansas City's defense heading into the 2026 season. While many of the headlines this offseason have focused on Patrick Mahomes' recovery, the additions made during the NFL draft, and the team's ongoing search for offensive reinforcements, this potential reunion could quietly become one of the most important moves Kansas City makes all year. The reason is simple. When L'Jarius Sneed was at his best in a Chiefs uniform, he was one of the most complete and versatile defensive backs in the entire NFL. Bringing him back would not only add talent and experience to the secondary, but it would also reconnect the team with a player who already understands Steve Spagnuolo's complex defensive system and has previously proven he can thrive within it. For years, Sneed represented one of the greatest success stories of Brett Veach's tenure as general manager. Originally selected in the fourth round of the 2020 NFL Draft, Sneed arrived in Kansas City with relatively little national attention. Like many mid-round draft picks, he was viewed as a developmental prospect with intriguing physical traits but no guarantee of becoming a star. What followed, however, exceeded almost every expectation. Sneed quickly developed into one of the most reliable defensive players on the roster, evolving from a promising young corner into a legitimate shutdown defender capable of matching up against some of the league's best receivers. His versatility became one of his greatest strengths. He could line up outside, play in the slot, blitz off the edge, support the run, and handle a variety of coverage responsibilities. Few defensive backs in football offered the same combination of toughness, intelligence, and adaptability. As Kansas City continued competing for championships, Sneed emerged as one of the foundational pieces of a defense that often did not receive enough national recognition. While Mahomes and the offense dominated headlines, it was frequently the defense that stepped up during crucial moments of playoff runs. Steve Spagnuolo's unit consistently made key stops against elite offenses, and Sneed was often at the center of those efforts. His physical style of play perfectly matched the aggressive identity Spagnuolo wanted his defense to embody. Opposing quarterbacks learned very quickly that throwing in Sneed's direction was rarely an easy proposition. He had a unique ability to stay attached to receivers throughout routes, disrupt timing at the line of scrimmage, and make life uncomfortable for virtually anyone he faced. By the time the 2023 season concluded, Sneed had firmly established himself as one of the NFL's premier cornerbacks. That year may have been the finest season of his professional career. He recorded 78 total tackles, defended 14 passes, and intercepted 2 passes while consistently drawing difficult assignments against top opposing receivers. More importantly, his impact extended beyond statistics. Sneed became one of the emotional leaders of the defense, setting a tone with his physicality and competitive fire. Week after week, he delivered performances that helped Kansas City maintain its status as one of the NFL's elite teams. His contributions played a significant role in helping the Chiefs remain championship contenders during an era defined by extraordinary expectations. Unfortunately, success often creates difficult financial decisions in the NFL. As Sneed continued elevating his value, it became increasingly apparent that retaining him long-term would present challenges for a Chiefs organization already carrying several massive contracts. Patrick Mahomes' historic deal, Chris Jones' contract, and other significant financial commitments forced Brett Veach and the front office to make difficult choices regarding roster construction. Ultimately, Kansas City decided it could not commit the type of money Sneed was expected to command on the open market. As painful as the decision was, the Chiefs traded him to the Tennessee Titans in 2024, hoping to gain valuable assets while avoiding a contract situation they felt would be difficult to manage. At the time, many observers understood the logic behind the move even if they disliked seeing such a talented player leave. Shortly after arriving in Tennessee, Snead signed a massive contract reportedly worth $76 million, a deal that reflected his status as one of the league's most respected cornerbacks. The Titans clearly believed they were acquiring a cornerstone defensive player capable of anchoring their secondary for years to come. On paper, the move made perfect sense. Snead was entering his prime, coming off the best football of his career, and appeared poised to continue performing at a Pro Bowl level. However, football rarely follows the script organizations envision. What looked like a perfect fit quickly turned into a frustrating chapter for both player and team. Injuries began to derail Snead's momentum almost immediately. Availability became a major issue, preventing him from consistently building chemistry within Tennessee's defense. Even when he was on the field, he struggled to recapture the dominant form that had made him such a valuable player in Kansas City. The combination of injuries and inconsistent performance created a difficult situation for the Titans, especially considering the financial commitment they had made. Over the course of his tenure in Tennessee, Snead appeared in just 12 games. For a player who had once been viewed as one of the NFL's rising stars at cornerback, it was a disappointing outcome. The Titans eventually faced a difficult financial decision of their own. Rather than continue carrying the contract and hoping for a turnaround, they opted to release Snead in an effort to create salary cap flexibility. Suddenly, one of the league's most talented defensive backs was available on the open market, looking for an opportunity to rebuild his value and remind teams why he had earned such a lucrative contract in the first place. That development immediately made Kansas City a fascinating potential destination. Few organizations understand Snead's strengths better than the Chiefs. Few coaching staffs have utilized him more effectively than Steve Spagnuolo and Andy Reid. Few locker rooms would offer him a more comfortable environment to restart his career. The familiarity factor cannot be overstated. Returning to Kansas City would mean rejoining teammates who already know him, coaches who trust him, and a defensive system designed to maximize his versatility. In many ways, the situation almost feels tailor-made for a reunion. The timing also makes sense from a roster perspective. The Chiefs have undergone significant changes in the secondary over the past year. The departures of key defensive backs have created uncertainty, and while Kansas City invested heavily in young talent through the draft, adding a proven veteran could provide stability and leadership. Young players often benefit tremendously from having experienced teammates around them, especially someone who has already succeeded within the organization. Snead could immediately serve as both a contributor on the field and a mentor off it. Another factor working in favor of a reunion is motivation. Athletes frequently perform their best when they feel they have something to prove, and Snead undoubtedly enters this stage of his career carrying significant motivation. His time in Tennessee did not unfold the way he envisioned. Injuries interrupted his momentum, critics questioned whether he could return to peak form, and the Titans ultimately decided to move on. Returning to Kansas City would offer Snead an opportunity to rewrite the narrative. It would allow him to demonstrate that his struggles were the result of circumstances rather than declining ability. Players often talk about feeling comfortable and confident within certain environments, and there is little question that Kansas City represents one of the environments where Snead previously performed at an elite level. Of course, questions remain. The Chiefs will need to evaluate Snead's health carefully before making any commitment. The version of Snead that dominated in 2023 would be an enormous addition. The version that struggled with injuries in Tennessee would carry far more risk. Kansas City's front office must determine whether they believe he can return to his previous level of play. Financial considerations will also play a role, although the circumstances are dramatically different now than when the Chiefs originally traded him. Instead of negotiating a massive long-term contract, Kansas City would likely be exploring a shorter, lower-risk agreement designed to benefit both sides. For the Chiefs, the upside is obvious. If Snead returns anywhere close to the player he was during his final season in Kansas City, the defense could receive a major boost without requiring a significant long-term investment. Few available free agents offer that type of potential impact. The combination of familiarity, experience, versatility, and proven success within the system makes him uniquely attractive. For Snead, the opportunity is equally compelling. A return to Kansas City would place him back on a contender, back in a defense that understands how to use him, and back alongside coaches who helped him become one of the NFL's top cornerbacks in the first place. It would give him a chance to compete for championships again while rebuilding his reputation around the league. As organized team activities continue and training camp approaches, this situation will be worth monitoring closely. Many free agent visits ultimately lead nowhere, but this particular case feels different because of the history involved. This is not simply a team evaluating an available veteran. This is a franchise potentially reconnecting with one of the key contributors from its championship years. It is a player potentially returning to the place where he enjoyed the greatest success of his professional career. And if both sides decide the fit still makes sense, the Chiefs could end up adding one of the most fascinating comeback stories of the entire NFL offseason. For a team determined to return to Super Bowl contention after a disappointing 2025 season, bringing back L'Jarius Sneed might be exactly the type of move capable of helping Kansas City take another major step toward the top of the NFL once again. Leave your opinion in the comments. Do you think the Chiefs should bring L'Jarius Sneed back? Thanks for watching, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.